How we doing?
Good.
Happy weekend. It's a brand new
Yes.
village. Yeah, you're doing good. Zach is coming off NFL draft first round fervor. How you feeling about the Patriots, Zach? We're
Uh,
gonna get into stuff in a minute, but how you feel about the Patriots?
I'm fired up. It's Drake May
Yeah,
season. Let's go.
yeah. All right. I asked you immediately. You were hyped. So, all right. I'll tell you who else is feeling good, and that's Auburn football fans because it's been a good week
Yeah.
defensively and now offensively. Portal season's going well for Auburn. They're going out, Zach, and they've executed Plan A 4 times in the last week.
Yeah. All of these guys we've talked about, I guess, in shows last week, early on in the process, as these guys entered, it's like, man, this guy would be nice. Man, this guy would be nice. Man, this guy would be nice. And they've gotten all of them. They've gotten all
Mhm.
of them, from Philip Bleedy to Isaiah Riggs to Kieron Crawford, now to Keandre Lambert Smith. All of these guys are going to be a big part of what the Tigers do on the field in 2024. And I mean, props to the staff. I mean, Hugh Freeze called his shot right after A-Day saying we need defensive linemen, we need a receiver, and they go out and get the best guys that the portal had to offer.
We talked earlier this week about defense and the improvements to the defensive line.
Yeah.
What do you think specifically? How can this elevate this? Because we haven't talked about wide receiver. How do you think about the latest edition? How does it elevate? How does it change how you feel about 2024?
I think it raises your floor a little bit. And look, Auburn fans are all over the place on what they think about Auburn's quarterback situation, Peyton Thorne. You can say
Yeah.
whatever you want, but if he had the season he had 2 years ago at Michigan State with the options that he had to throw to, it'd be one of the best Auburn quarterback seasons ever. And I don't know if Auburn's receiving core is quite to where that one was his first year at Michigan State, but it's close. It's close between Cam Coleman and Robert Lewis or Rivaldo Fairweather now with KLS coming in. I just think there's a lot of options for him to throw to. Now, they're going to need help with scheme, and it seems like Hugh Freeze is rearing and ready to go with kind of making sure the offense fits everything that they want it to. But all in all, I think it makes it better, especially now you don't have to worry about, like, oh my goodness, what if somebody misses a few games, which Auburn's had a terrible track record at wide receiver health, not only this spring, but just over the last few years. And so now if somebody goes down, I think you feel okay with the depth. And we've talked about this before too. Like, I think this is great for Perry Thompson. It gives him a little bit more time for him to adjust to the speed of the SEC. He doesn't have to come in and start day one, and they can kind of bring him along at a comfortable pace. I think this is great for several different reasons.
Yeah, I think so too. And schematically, you're not asking any new receiver to come in and be wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Even if you've been wide receiver one at a school that's won 10 games 2 years in a row in a power conference, you're not asked to be. Now, could you come in and compete and win the job? That's great, man. That's gravy on top of everything else. But you're not asked to be that. And you may not even be asked to be a number 2 type of threat in the receiving core. You might be. And if you do, now all of a sudden Rivaldo Fairweather is not a first or second option, which means he's not drawing the first or second defender. Man, now running back out of the backfield isn't drawing the first or second set of eyes from a tackler in the passing game. And the check down becomes more dangerous. I mean, I think raising the floor is a good way to say it. Anytime you add a talented, proven wide receiver, you elevate your offense tremendously.
Yeah, and once again, people get tired of me talking up and gassing up Cam Coleman, but when you have a true one, it really changes everything for the rest of the room and the rest of the offense. And this is, once again, something Auburn hasn't had. They haven't had a guy that can impact the roster in a way that Cam Coleman can possibly do. So, like, if KLS was coming in and asked to be the number one guy, I would be a little concerned, because this is kind of where we were a year ago when they brought in, Shane Hooks at around this time, and Caleb Burton, and I'm forgetting the other one. Nick Marner was already here, but I feel like there was another one Jair Shorter.
Jair Shorter.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, these guys, it kind of feels like they were asked to be wide receiver one. Obviously, that didn't happen. Most of them weren't even on the field that much. So it's a different ball game with everything going on right now. And just I just think the difference is going to be dramatic, Brad.
So I've got a couple things. One, I want to comment on something that I saw from a few people on our last show, that we were maybe overemphasizing or celebrating too much about the portal pickups. Nobody's claiming that Nick Fairley was available, that 2010 Nick Fairley is coming in the portal. I don't think anybody's claiming that Megatron is coming in the portal. That's not what this is about. And this is kind of the larger narrative. Auburn is celebrating because it identified specifically two areas that it needed to improve the most. It targeted Plan A options, and it got all 4 Plan A options. I mean, the 4 guys on their board that they wanted to this point, they got, and that's cause for celebration. The other point is, it is so different in year 2 under a coaching staff versus year 1, and the ground that they were trying to make up in recruiting on the high school level, it sort of left the portal options, I think, respectfully, less desirable. It reminds me of going to the grocery store late on a Sunday, and there's not as much left there to choose from. You get what you can find, and you do the best with it that you can to make the best meal that you can. But it's different than going right when the butcher shop opens after the fresh shipment has come in.
Yeah, they've
this
caught
time
the
Auburn
restock.
was able to go get Plan A.
They've caught the restock for sure. No question about it, Brad. No question about it. So can this passing offense do something that, to our knowledge, our research, hasn't been done before? They've been close over the last few years, but they haven't quite done it. Brad's got some interesting stats. All that's coming up right here on Village Vice. Brad, take it away.
Yeah, first I want to talk about Roback. If it had been a little bit cooler, I would have brought my Roback performance hoodie with me to Baton Rouge. It's just too, you know what? Frankly, I didn't want to bring Roback into Baton Rouge. It's too hot and muggy and swampy here. So
you love Baton Rouge, though.
It's
your favorite place to go in the SEC.
Tell you what, 30 minutes for a shower with this soft water. Already had one. It's awesome.
Got it.
Okay. Roback is, again, their performance polos are the best polos out there. You cannot find a better looking, better fitting, better feeling performance polo. You're going to love Roback's polos, even if you're not really that big on polos in general. They have great prints that are just in time for spring. And right now, they want to let you try Roback and give you a very generous 20% off your first order when you go to roback.com and use this promo code VICE20. Got to use our promo code VICE20 at roback.com. That's RHOBACK. Hoodies, polos, a lot more. Check it out. 20% off anything on your first order when you use VICE20 at roback.com. Okay. I had a friend of mine who watches the show, good friend Matt, who said, hey, I think it's possible that Auburn could have 4 different guys catch 40 passes or more in 2024. When's the last time that's happened? I haven't looked at every single season for which stats are available. I've looked at the more prolific passing years.
Yeah.
I can't find a season where 4 guys have caught 40 passes. Is that possible? Is that viable? Or are we looking at the talent and getting a little too pie in the sky with what this offense can be and how balanced it might be this year?
Yeah, so just for the sake of comparison, and we've talked about this a little bit from last year to this year, Peyton Thorne only completed 260. I'm sorry, he only completed 162 passes last year.
Yeah.
And so
it's like 12 completions a game.
And so we're talking about 40 receptions to 4 different players. Like that's 160 right there. So that's if this were to happen, and even if it were possible or close, I mean, this is just Auburn's passing game doesn't have to be top 5 in the conference. If it's 8th or 9th, I think Auburn has a pretty good chance to have a good season because of everything else that is in front of them and their rushing attack. And I actually think their defense is going to end up being pretty good. So is it possible? Sure. And I guess the four most likely would be Coleman, Fairweather, Lewis, and Lambert Smith is probably my guess.
Yeah.
And if I had to guess if that were to happen or not, I would say no. But you look at all four of those guys, and all four of them are certainly capable of achieving that.
Each one individually, I think, is capable of that. I love numbers. I love the breakdowns like this. This is kind of I find these very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But if you average 30 pass attempts a game, is it feasible? Do you think it's plausible that Auburn averages 30 pass attempts per game? I mean, I think you got a head coach who wants to throw it that much.
Maybe. I mean, is it plausible? Yes. Yes, it's possible.
Do you think
sure.
It's what we see?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know because I don't know why you wouldn't want to run it a ton as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, I agree. And that makes sense. And that's what we're used to at Auburn. But Hugh Freeze, everywhere he's been, has thrown it just about as much, if not more, than he's run it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 30 attempts a game is 360 attempts for the year. If you complete 60% of your passes, that's 216 completions. I think you spread it out more than, four guys getting 40 each. That's over 160 now just to those guys. That's not running back check downs. That's not other receivers getting involved.
Sure.
That's not a quarterback. That's not a scramble that turns into a QB rush. It's a,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let me give you some comps. 2021, which surprised me. 2021, Kobe Hudson had 44 catches. Shed Jackson had 40. Demetrius Robertson had 37. John Samuel Schenker had 33.
It's amazing to me.
That's the closest I can find to four guys having 40 catches or more.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just 3 years ago. Brian Harson's first year. With a first-round quarterback in Bo Nix, by the way, at the helm.
How about that? Congrats to Bo. That's awesome.
Yeah, congrats to Bo. Some other examples. Auburn's had three several times. In 2020, Flash had 54, Seth Williams 47, Eli Stove had 44. 2019, Seth Williams had 59, Flash had 41, Eli Stove had 37. Like, you've had three guys near that number. Man, four is a lot. What do you think? In the comments, let us know. Does that happen this year? Again, I think each one individually has the talent to get there.
Yeah.
It's just, does Auburn throw it enough and spread it around enough for that to happen?
Yeah, or could it be a thing where, okay, those are the four main guys to start the season, and then what if somebody gets to 20 and then has to miss 2 or 3 games because of a hamstring or something? And then, or maybe what if Perry Thompson comes on and replaces one of these guys in the pecking order, and it's like, okay, well, maybe they don't get 4 guys that have 40 catches, but what if they have 6 guys that have 28 or better, right? And like, which one would you rather have, right? So, it's a great conversation. The fact that it's possible, because I don't think this was possible a year ago. So that's great. That's
Agreed.
great. Hey, one of my favorite national college football analysts did a kind of a blurb on Auburn, and I want to read you a quote from something that he said, and I love it. I think you'll love it too. So that's coming up right here on Village Vice. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is the best place to wager on whatever sporting event you want, whether it's the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball. Only a few pitchers left remaining, it seems. Just kidding. There's still plenty of pitchers, but you can bet on all of it at MyBookie.ag. Go ahead and make a free account so that way you get access to the sports book and you can see all of the lines and props. You're going to be blown away by it. And then make that first deposit. And when you make that first deposit, use promo code NEXTROUND. You'll get some extra bonus money to play with. Extra bonus money to play with. Use promo code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. So On 3's YouTube channel, the main show on their YouTube page is called The Hard Count. JD Pickell is the host of that. I think JD Pickell is really good at what he does, and also just a a good human being. But here is a quote from him. He talked a lot about Auburn. He was impressed, Brad, what Auburn did in the transfer portal. 4 studs in 4 days, I believe, was what he kind of described it as. And he said they are portaling like a program. That's kind of a bit that he does on his show. But here's a quote that I typed out. It says, the way that it feels at Auburn, quite frankly, is big time. It feels big time. If I'm a player being recruited and I step in that facility and I talk to that staff and I see the way they do things, the processes they have in place, the operations that they have in place, it makes me say this is a professional outfit that is doing things the right way. It's not skipping any steps to where they want to go. They are acting how they want to be viewed, and they are acting how they want to achieve. Few things that I love that the national analysts are pointing out. And it's not just, okay, they got 4 studs in 4 days. They got plan A 4 times in a row, to use your verbiage. But I love that he highlights it's not skipping any steps, because I think skipping any steps is you look at what Colorado's trying to do. And they're trying to do what they did last year, and it's just not, I don't think it's going to work. And they're building it through the high school ranks. They're building relationships, and they're getting these guys consistently over the span of now, 18 months? And that's just going to get better and better the longer that they're here. But I love that they are acting how they want to be viewed. I think that is a very great way to describe what this staff has done so far, Brad.
I think so too. And it's really good to have. I think JD came to campus a week or two ago and sat down with Coach Freeze, toured the facility, kind of saw it for himself rather than just speaking on it from the outside. And I think that's important. I think that's important context. Everything about the staff, I think, they could plan AU can kind of be a thing. This is what they do. They go after, they first set a vision and go, this is how we want to be. And then they set a very detailed, specific course of action for how to do it. And then, the individual games where the game plan doesn't go the way you want it to in year one. Yeah, there are examples of that. But big picture, whether it's identifying positions that need to be strengthened and then going and getting them, or developing those relationships and choosing intentionally to focus time on the high school ranks, even if it means losing out early in the first portal period.
Sure.
That's the perception anyway. That's fine. That's their intentional choice to everything that they do inside the facility. I think it's great. I think it captures what those who are seeing the program on a daily basis know is the case. I think plan AU, like DBU, Auburn is plan AU at this point.
Yeah, I like that. So, I just wanted to kind of highlight that and say, hey, this not only does getting these 4 studs in the spring transfer window say a lot, but I think it goes larger than that. I think it's the proof of things wider than just those 4 player acquisitions. Like, things are trending in the right direction. And you can tell because other fan bases are acting like it's not a big deal. And to me, I think that's pretty telling.
I think it's yes, absolutely. And you could see it from Perry Thompson's commitment to lots of other examples. I was reminded last night when I watched the Chargers take an O-lineman, an offensive tackle, with their first pick in the draft. I thought, well, that's a Jim Harbaugh pick. And I was reminded of the fact that he struggled his first few years at Michigan, but never wavered from trying to build it a certain way. And it eventually they turned the corner and it paid off for them. I think what you're seeing, you can't do it exactly the same kind of timetable, I don't think, in the SEC and certainly the new SEC.
Sure.
But I think you're seeing the same intentionality and desire to build it a certain way and carry yourself a certain way, thinking, all right, we don't have to win 10 games in year one. We can build this thing and build something that can be established for more than 1 year. And that's frankly very exciting.
Yeah, I'm with you. Brad, enjoy your favorite city in America. Call lots of really good games.
We'll try.
And I think that about does it for today's show.
Yes, it does. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I read the comments, so let us know what you think. Hey, we're almost at, 3,000 subscribers.
Is that right? That's awesome.
Now
That's
we're
huge.
getting there. Getting close.
Help us get there, folks.
So invite your friends. Have a great weekend. Remember, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of you.